weeks and weeks of play have led to this moment.
Playoffs is back and we have some surprises in store for you.
Absolute chills.
Everybody so low for SrPeakCheck. Cookie!
There's a reason that Cookie was touted as the best soldier in EMEA.
Saints play this beautifully. Bomb sticks mid-air!
You gotta have supreme confidence in yourself.
There is so much to fight for, and I am stoked to see how it's going to really pan out.
I love this when the fight is dire, when players recognize when they must make a play.
Oh my lord!
I am so damn excited.
This is absolutely spicy.
Only one team gets to come away from this alive.
Now it's about their name. It's about their legacy.
Know when to take that risk, when to bet it all.
The Overwatch Contenders Summer Series playoffs continue right now.
Welcome back, everybody, as we are here to continue on with the second match of the day for EMEA. We've had quite an exhilarating game already, and now this one I think is only going to further tantalize the joy that we have for this region. It is going to be 1 for Team PEPS, 2 for SrPeakCheck, and Kenobi, I'm so locked in and ready to go.
You said the word tantalize, and I was like, ooh, okay, that's a really
good word. That's a good word. That's a good word, right?
It gets the juices flowing, but I think that, like, this is a matchup that you're right. This is going to be so... I would expect this to be very close. It was the first time we saw them earlier in the bracket. Went all 5 maps, went all the way to round 3 on Lijiang Tower. This is gonna be. I really hope it's gonna be a banger. Like
yep.
If our map 5 Voodoo is ever gonna work, I want it to work here. Or so right now. Else. I want the storyline here again. But you can see this Team PEPS team. And how they're going to be rolling out with this composition that they're running. This is a team that, especially with FD God in the roster, very heavily is reliant on the Lucio play and the high tempo of it, which will be so interesting against SrPeakCheck, which is a team that is going to run Rhine Rush. That is just what we're at right now. This team playing Rhine. LH Cloudy. You can make an argument that, like, one of the best Reinhardts in the world, just by the understanding and, like, mechanics of, like, the hero, LH Cloudy, is an incredibly important part of this team. Potentially the most important part, if you really think about it. So, this is a matchup that, again, I think is going to go the absolute distance. I wouldn't be able to, like, unless I'm flipping coins, rolling D20s, I'm not figuring out, if I'm betting, man, like, who is going to win this matchup. It's so close.
I mean, and we, again, for those that might not have been watching previously, at least last week, this went to a map 5. It was blow for blow. PEPS, SR, taking it in the end of it, and realistically, it was very heavily favored in prediction. 77% wanted that Team PEPS, but SrPeakCheck, and even like we just had with the interview only moments ago, saying that if there was a team that they were going to see moving forward to compete against Twisted Minds, it's this one. And I cannot wait to see if that is going to actually come to fruition and their agreement between each other will actually come to suit, or it's a chance for Team PEPS to continue on.
You literally heard it from KSA. KSA said in the previous interview, right before this, we almost got 3-0'd. We should have been 3-0'd, but we just clutched in the very end. Like, that's how close it was with SrPeakCheck. The 3-1, I mean, I know we make memes that, the closest 3-0, the closest 3-1. Yeah. That was, a very close 3-1. I think it could have, on a knife's edge, without some insane clutches from SrPeakCheck, we're potentially looking at a scenario where this is Team PEPS versus Twisted Minds, and SrPeakCheck is in the winner's side. But now they're facing Team PEPS down here in this lower bracket semifinal. We're going to Antarctic Peninsula, which is a
poetic.
It's poetic. This is where it started on our last series, and it was Team PEPS who won 2-0. Reinhardt is very viable on this map. On specifically, I think it's what's the map that's very good? Icebreaker? Is that the ship one?
Icebreaker.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, the ship. Yeah, Icebreaker is the ship one.
Yeah. See, I look to you for the names of the sub maps.
I know, right? That's what I do. I got my little.
Because you actually told me, you're like, oh, it's a ship, and I had no idea it was until you told me about it. I just didn't think about that.
Gotta break through it. That ship though, unfortunately, ain't moving. That one, I'm sorry. That's not.
It's not breaking much ice right now. It's just kind of staying there. But yeah, this was a map win by Team PEPS earlier in the bracket when they first played each other. Now with the Reinhardt still being a thing that I think LH Cloudy can play, there are maps, sub maps I would say on this Antarctic Peninsula where Reinhardt doesn't necessarily win as hard as potentially on Icebreaker. But surprise, Rich, where are we starting?
Well, going to the lovely ship that is the Icebreaker. It's gonna be. I'm curious to see who's gonna commandeer the helm and be able to get this thing moving. And with, again, a 2-0, mind you, when we look back at it. So Team PEPS didn't even give a round with that usage with LH Cloudy on that Reinhardt. Going to be sticking most likely to the Symmetra and the Mei in how they've been playing it. Or on the counter side, there was a little bit of an adjustment. Hybrid had the chance to play differently and going more so onto the Bastion or to the Hanzo. Bastion specifically for this one, so that it looks like they will be keeping that same composition as they had once before, because why change it when it was already so successful?
And it will be interesting to see what the DPS look like here, because the DPS, what is decided on each side, will impact the tank matchup very heavily, right? I think in like kind of a vacuum, Mulfig versus LH Cloudy does have a little bit of an edge there, but if there's something like a Bastion, like a Mei, this all does change depending on like what the tank matchup looks like, especially because it looks like SrPeakCheck are running the Symmetra and the Mei. So Mulfig has to be so incredibly careful here. Lucky Team PEPS have a lot of spam to break walls. That's going to be the biggest thing here, and you can already see SrPeakCheck going aggressive to start things out and taking first control at this point.
And there's the separation too by Naga, looking for a crossfire on the Torbjorn, taking a wide angle, but there has been instant recognition of that, and chasing down. Fi actually has to use the defense to make sure that they are withstanding it, and unfortunately now don't have it any longer. Naga's running for their life, and everyone is completely swarming the Swede. They get the pickup, but Danon goes down as well. Can they get a follow-up? The wall ride climbing up. FT God gets shut down by the icicle. This is absolute chaos at the front deck, and now you can see them transitioning back for Team PEPS to grab it.
That was so well played from Naga. I mean, setting up a crossfire with the Torbjorn, forcing Fi out of the fight. That means that the Mei isn't in the tank battle right there, so the wall gets not a lot of value. And Fi was also losing the matchup against Naga, so it just created so much time. Now SrPeakCheck come back in, Ant Matrix is used.
Nice wall to mitigate some of the sight lines for the moment. Ghost putting so much through that amplification matrix. Swap it back, but Team PEPS, respective, drawing back. Hybrid low, gets picked up. LH Cloudy dominating on the front side with this SrPeakCheck as a shatter comes in from Mulfig, but there's no follow-up onto it, and will be able to still be able to keep this for the whole time.
I think that was like a shatter of desperation from Mulfig there. I mean, if you hit 4 people, I think it's potentially like a turnable fight, but it's very hard to sneak those past LH Cloudy, who is so good at these Reinhardt compositions, and just Reinhardt in general. As Team PEPS, they got kind of run on right there, and I think that's, again, one of the things that is so different about the Symmetra is just the TP usage. TP, so incredibly important in terms of mobility here, as we do have a pause, but like you can see, if SrPeakCheck are able to just TP onto that backline, there's nothing really stopping them from getting kills like that. Hybrid is going to end up dying. Immortality Field will buy a tiny bit of time, but it's not going to be enough to keep all of your members alive. So, like, in these next couple of fights, when Molten Core is going to be available, Molten Core will be very good at dealing with Symmetra Teleporter, right? Because if you TP through it, Molten Core just goes down, and you all burn to death.
I mean, the question, though, is like we've already seen with some bait and switches with the TPs, are they actually going to commit to it? 100%. That's the real question.
It's a mind game.
It really, really is. That'll carry over into this because it's such a high risk, high reward. Do you want to commit it? Is it going to yield value? As we're waiting for, it looks like, connectivity to be confirmed here by one side. Still giving them a moment before entering back in. They for sure want to make all of their connectivity as clean as possible on this one, because this is do or die. Again, you're going home here, and we know exactly how intense this is going to be as Team PEPS look to re-engage. Seeing how they could...
I mean, Fi's going to have the Blizzard. That's going to be a big deal in these enclosed areas, Rich.
Earth Shatter from LH Cloudy. Drawing back, playing towards the point, 45%. Patiently looking to see if they can find an off angle. A random shot that comes in onto Ghost makes that really detrimental, and they lose the support line entirely as Team PEPS transition easily down back to the point so that they can take advantage of this, and now it's just a stall tactic for Danon, which won't last long.
I think it was actually a grenade that kind of sneaked through the Ant Matrix and just hit Ghost in the backline, insta-killed that Baptiste, and with the Baptiste not in the fight, it's almost nigh impossible to win fights like that, especially in compositions like this where Baptiste is the source of all of your healing. And the biggest part about this, Rich, is that FD God is able to hold on to that sound barrier, so when SrPeakCheck come into this next fight with potentially a Shatter or with that Blizzard, there's going to be that blanket of shielding to be able to keep some of them alive.
Mulfig is close to theirs as well, able to catch up ever so slightly. Now, the ultimate active by Hybrid, getting quite a spread across the back line. Nobody eliminated, but decent chip damage on the outskirts. Shatter blocked, beautifully done by Molfig. LH Cloudy misreads the situation as a Blizzard now locks down Hybrid, instantly forces the cryo freeze as the immortality field pops out to give them space, but there is a 2-player knockdown with a Shatter from Molfig, guaranteeing that they can capitalize onto it, wanting to strip this away because it's still SrPeakCheck who's generating percentage.
A lot of percentage too. I mean, that was a fight completely won by Team PEPS, and they might just only get back towards 80%. A lot of ultimates were used in that fight. There is going to be the Molten Core available from Naga, and also the Ant Matrix from Cronus, which is going to do a great job of making it difficult for SrPeakCheck to enter into this fight. But Molfig has been playing phenomenally well this map. I mean, blocks the Shatter, hits the Shatter, then himself onto that DPS and takes those kills. Now, for SrPeakCheck, how are they going to enter this fight? Where's that TP going to be used? Because they have to be aware that that Molten Core is available from Naga.
And it's still pumping in damage from far. Amplification Matrix active. Could
another grenade just right through.
Oh my goodness! That's the second time we've seen it now. This time it's not on the support, but still, look at how aggressively Team PEPS is going to play because they know they have the advantage. They saw it in the kill feed, and everyone says, go, go, go!
And I mean, I don't even know if there's a way back for SrPeakCheck here to try and get to this point. 95% up and ticking. They don't even have their Lucio respawned yet. No swaps either to this. Oh, I mean, Molfig just absolutely annihilates
pinned.
I mean, that's just... What a play, I mean, though, from Team PEPS. 2 of those fights, I think the combination of the Ant Matrix and the grenade just won them 2 fights outright. And that's like an incredible... It's almost like similar to how it is with these compositions where it's like Ant Matrix into, you know, Fire Strike. An incredible combo. But that nade, if it hits someone, it's just instantly dead. As we can see, another very heavily skewed. I mean, I think it's the exact number, 72% that we saw for Twisted Minds.
It was. There's a little bit of a 5% differentiator. There's some people who wanted to join in for SrPeakCheck, at least from last time. It was 77 to 23. So there's a little bit more fandom, but Team PEPS always having the dominant force behind them.
Man.
They really do.
Those arms, you know what I'm saying? But no swaps for either teams on this secondary submap that we're going to be going to here. Again, how are Daned and like the rest of the team on SrPeakCheck going to be maneuvering around with that Symmetra? Did get a lot of value in a couple of those early fights, but the spam potential from Naga and also the flanking potential is something they have to deal with.
Nice TP to go across the way. Oh, big pickup early. Nice job out the gate, making sure that you can get that numbers advantage and force back Team PEPS not yet going in for this engagement.
Yeah, I think really smart from SrPeakCheck, knowing that if Naga's gonna kind of go on these flanks, you can just TP onto him and kill him. Even though you do have like the overload and some survivability, it's still a lot of incoming damage that's gonna be hard to deal with, as SrPeakCheck now have control of this point right now. Ant Matrix is very close between both of these teams. We've seen Cronus with the combination of Bash and Grenade being able to open fights up and really make it difficult for SrPeakCheck to hold in.
Well, and it was so low in the back on the Lucio, able to regroup.
They did it again!
Oh no, they got another pick. They're gonna now get the Amplification Matrix to funnel. Everyone gonna have to draw back here for SrPeakCheck, as Team PEPS now gonna clean up the outskirts and look to resign back onto the point. Fi is not gonna be long for this world if the Focus Fire continues to come through. There's a boop onto Danon. Everything just starts to crumble in front of their eyes, but still, 33+% here is so much still gained.
I mean, they got about, I'd say, like 15% extra just by the virtue of these stalls here. So, not bad if you're SrPeakCheck for your first couple of fights. Especially when you're coming back into this one and you have like a lot of key ultimates to work with. Photon Barrier is going to be great here to deal with the Bastion specifically. Blizzard in these enclosed areas will really, really make it difficult for Team PEPS to maneuver through them. FD God has to be on point with the Sound Barrier. Nice Photon Barrier and the wall as well, completely isolating Team PEPS away from the position. Immortality Field going to be thrown out very, very early. Cleaning this up, Fi manages to chase down Naga, and this is disastrous for Team PEPS. They are being picked apart. Hybrid is the only one able to dish out damage, but a wonderful Immortality Field. I almost think that was 1 HP. That was so close. I mean, what a perfect engage too, right? They just use the TP, go directly to point, Photon Barrier directly cuts off the point in half, and Team PEPS can't do any damage. They just have to sit there and really just try and burst it down, but it doesn't end up working, and so SrPeakCheck only use a singular, well, they use the Sound Barrier too, but they use 2 ultimates, take that point, and now it's Team PEPS' turn to try and come back and recontest here, but with 75% and up and ticking, this is last fight for them. Wall again. Oh, it separates them. There's only a very small, narrow position to maneuver through. Rotating back, the Blizzard is active. Now with the ultimate coming in from Hybrid, can they get value down below? They're clustered together, and they're being blown up from the sky! Wonderful!
wonderful read on that. There was nowhere for SrPeakCheck to go.
An absolute bombardment coming in from Hybrid. They're just completely ruining that fight for SrPeakCheck, who had to use the Blizzard during that one too. So Team PEPS, just the combination of a couple of ultimates, are able to take this one back. Now, though, have to play it perfectly from here on out because SrPeakCheck are at that last fight territory for themselves. So we do have another pause, and as we look into this next fight and what's going to be available to both these teams, I mean, Naka's going to have the Molten Core, Ant Matrix available for both of these teams. We've seen that kind of Ant Matrix has been a lot more valuable for Team PEPS because, I mean, Bastion, just every part of Bastion's kit with Ant Matrix is insanely good, right? You can either turret form and just melt through shield, melt through health bar, melt through flesh, or you just, like, throw a nade through it, and with how, like, compact the area is, you can probably just hit someone. And with the Ant Matrix, you don't even need to stick them, Rich. You can just, like, hit the wall or something and do, like, a ton of damage. Like, it is very difficult to kind of figure out how to maneuver against a Bastion with an Ant Matrix in their back pocket.
Well, yeah, it's like over 3,000 damage if you're in Sentry form through the Ant Matrix. It's a ton of damage.
It's a Gatling gun. I mean, it's just absolutely insane to deal with.
But now the TP comes out again. Ant Matrix, beautiful Fire Strike timing, but Team PEPS resigning and giving space. But FD God goes down by the second Fire Strike. Oh, this is rough. Team PEPS now have to try and reposition and hopefully get back in time. They're playing close to their spawn position. What a shatter onto Hybrid. Cancels it to reposition. This ends the fight, and most likely this round here with SrPeakCheck taking full advantage back from the pause.
I mean, the most fadeaway Fire Strike I've ever seen hits literally the perfect person. There is not a singular other person in that fight that if that Fire Strike hits, the fight is just completely done from the start. It's literally onto FD God. That means no sound barrier. It means the freest shatter of LH Cloudy's life, and it's going to be 1-1 here on Antarctic Peninsula. A bit of a change from what we saw in that last matchup between these two teams. But as we go into the sub-level, do we still see the Rhine handshake between both these teams? So this is a map where you can see kind of a little bit of change if you wanted with your, like, tanks and stuff like that. But for Team PEPS, I mean, I wonder what we're going to be seeing in terms of them trying to deal with, again, the Symmetra teleporter. Symmetra teleporter seems to be really, really effective because SrPeakCheck have switched how they're playing it. Instead of just diving onto the core with the TP, they're taking down the flankers, and Naga and Hybrid need to be very wary of the potential of just getting run at by 5 men with the teleporter in their back pocket.
And we are going to see a shift. Originally, it was Hybrid on the Hanzo last time, but going to opt to go for the Sojourn this time to match up against SrPeakCheck, who is still residing on the identical... Ooh, nice TP up top into the window. Great read, though, from Team PEPS. Yep, they were able to get out scot-free. No real concern as they hesitate to go back into this, dropping down onto the bridgeway. Positioning down below, Molfig is keeping presence near that point so that once SrPeakCheck drops down, they can take advantage of it. TP again. Will they take it? Nope, they opt to go for the frontal fight. Wall attempts to lock down Molfig, but he's going to be able to get out and round about the corner. LH Cloudy so low, but a beautiful immortality field. Can they get the follow-up? And Naga gets the pick.
I mean, that was really well played from Team PEPS around that teleporter, right? They almost died at the very start, and then perfectly played as, like, in terms of their positioning, right? The thing about it is if you're split a little bit, the TP isn't really going to get value, especially if it's on the Reinhardt, and there's just consistently Cronus there, just throwing heals at you, throwing Immortality Field, being able to break that wall. And a great start for Team PEPS here. They do lose first point and a little bit of 15%, but now they have all of the positioning to work with. And the thing about this comp for Team PEPS is they do have a spam advantage, right? With Torbjorn, with Sojourn, there's not really the range that SrPeakCheck has to match it. They have to get into the brawl.
What a fire strike through the choke point to guarantee that it is almost a earth shatter online for LH Cloudy. Huge pickup. Ghost is down. There's no way that you're going to have Dala keep this team alive. LH Cloudy is practically dead in and of itself, and you just got all of Team PEPS playing the high ground.
Yeah, got to run completely right here in Hybrid with all these sightlines. Daned goes down somehow. I think just gets triple dink off the back end, and that's just going to be more time that SrPeakCheck lose here and more percentage ticking up for Team PEPS. And you look at the ultimates that they have here. Shatter is going to be available. They also have Ant Matrix. The thing about Molten Core, again, in these very enclosed areas and with all the walls and areas that they can play around, it's going to do a lot of damage if they try and TP onto them.
Oh, Vi gets a random icicle between the eyes. Molten Core active. Wall blocks it. able to at least get rid of some of the turrets, but underneath, it is a clear victory for SrPeakCheck, only sacrificing one member, but are able to swap it over.
Yeah, just trying to stall as much as they can here if you're Team Peps in this point. Fi really, I mean, with that first pick onto Hybrid, making sure Overclock isn't even in that fight, then desperate ultimates, I think, from Team Peps trying to bring that one back. And SrPeakCheck, I mean, they only use the Ant Matrix, right? That's the best thing for them, is they only use Ant Matrix right here, so now they have 4 ultimates coming into this next one to be able to match whatever Team Peps bring to the table, and they also have all the positioning to work with and high ground as well. That's so very key for these types of poking duels.
Molfig waiting until entry, 40+%. Wall has actually already been used down below defensively, as you have the photon barrier to follow up. Nice division of this, and Team Peps are just gonna, again, give respect to this. They don't want to overcommit.
I mean, you don't want to walk into a photon barrier like this, especially with the Baptiste and Lucio. If you walk past that shield, you just instantly die if you're a Reinhardt. Overclock's still available, though, for Hybrid, and he kills the trigger.
Nice wall. Beautifully timed to give enough extra moments for that sound barrier to land, but now that it is starting to fade, the TP comes out. Molfig up top, looking to counteract, but the health value is under half. Beautifully done again by Hybrid, taking another headshot to the opponent. Wasn't even a full charge either on it, as you have an 80% swapping potential here. It is really just 3 ultimates now that are here to take this fight over SrPeakCheck.
Yeah, 5 went on a huge flank right there. I think was trying to find a way to just throw that May Blizzard into the backline and get a free shatter for LH Cloudy, but it doesn't end up working. And with where the percentages are for both these teams, Rich, this is last fight for both of them. If SrPeakCheck lose, they're not going to be able to stop the time from going forward. And look at this again. You have an Ant Matrix. Molfig with the fire strikes in these enclosed areas going to do a ton of damage.
Well, Molfig, oh, nice reposition. Can they get back? They walled off Molfig, so they're collapsing onto the back line, but there's sustainability. They're holding on to it. Molfig locked just on the edge, but a beautiful immortality field that comes in by Kronos, who's picked up by Danet. That's going to be so problematic for them. FD God with the sound barrier is the only thing that they have to rely on. Molfig now is going to be brought to their knees. It is a swap back for SrPeakCheck, and the percentage is so close that Team Peps is not going to have the opportunity for a full regroup here.
Hybrid is still around. FD God tries to get back on just to proc that overtime, but instantly goes down, and now it's just stall tactics with all the turrets. There's going to be no way for Team Peps to contest that one. SrPeakCheck take the first round here of Antarctic Peninsula, getting revenge for that first series where they lost. And I mean, really, I think props to them for utilizing this Symmetra so effectively. Even just like the way that they changed kind of how they were using it with like the fake TPs sometimes, knowing that on the flank there is going to be a lot of like Naga is going to be there, sometimes Hybrid is going to be there, even at the very end, Rich. That like fight we saw at the end where they just completely forego the Ant Matrix with the TP as all 5 members and then wall off Molfig from the rest of the team. That's just beautiful play.
And we're seeing the Symmetra being so influential. And I almost would say that SrPeakCheck was watching the previous game and be like, hey, y'all wanna do that? Y'all wanna try and do that a little more? Because it's working.
And it was actually weird for me to see kind of Team Peps move away from the Bastion a little bit. Yes, I mean, I know it's very hard to play Bastion when there's a team that's being like so aggressive onto you, but they had a lot of success using it. I mean, especially with the Ant Matrix combos that they were using with Kronos, and a lot of these, you know, a couple of these ultimates from Hybrid got a lot of value, like we see with this one.
Yeah.
It felt like the Sojourn just never really got online on that third map because of the fact that like they were going so quick on SrPeakCheck's side, where it's like Sojourn isn't able to farm up towards rail shot, which is the biggest like thing you need in your kit if you're going to be brawling.
I mean, realistically, there were a couple of great early fight picks, just in general, onto SrPeakCheck, especially this initial one that allows them to draw down Naga, cleans up quickly. But once it started to get a little bit more stable, and you had Fi and Danet get some significant picks themselves later on, it just then was disastrous. And I think this is going to be coming up just after this one, maybe with that replay. Oh no, we're going to miss it. But it's the one, like you mentioned, where it's the charge forward, instant TP and a wall to leave all the DPS and all the supports by themselves, and 100% deny an Earth Shatter for any sort of counter.
Yeah, and I think that like the thing about like the Bastion and like the difference between that and the Sojourn is that like the Bastion, the damage is on demand, right? It's like when you want to do damage with Bastion, you just hit your wheels mode and you just like farm, right? Sojourn takes time to really farm up towards like rail shot. If you have a team on the other side who is just TPing onto you, right? Disruptor Shot is good at dealing with it, kind of, but it doesn't slow. Like, if Disruptor Shot used to, like, slowed like it used to, I think then it becomes, like, a lot more viable of a pick, but you just simply don't have the time when SrPeakCheck is playing at such a high tempo to really get the Sojourn online. And it's not like the Sojourn is the only reason they lost, but the Bastion was working relatively well for them, and seeing them move away from it was a little bit shocking to me.
And I wonder if it's one of those moments where you kind of set yourself into a position of knowing what worked last time versus addressing what is happening in the now. Like, yeah, this worked for us last time. Like, we can just go back to what was good. And, you know, even though this brought benefit to us, we're not really going to want to make the adjustment. All these little small micro plays. But with us talking about micro plays and decision making, we actually do have the map selection, which is going to be Midtown for our next map. So we get to see something a little bit different here. Haven't seen this nearly as much in comparison to other hybrid maps, specifically New Bonnie being the one that rises to the surface of discussion because it is so heavily picked. So this is a nice variation of what we've seen in, you know, previous history.
And this will be an interesting map because I think that it kind of plays differently. A lot of the hybrid maps do this, where like it plays differently depending on what like part of the map you're in. But like first point, very good for Reinhardt. I think like being able to kind of hold that defensive angle with those sight lines, very effective. But on second point, like how does that match up? Because if you don't run through second very quickly, you can get stalled at like that high ground, and like taking high ground with Reinhardt is a bit difficult. But then again, the way to cheat that is using Symmetra. So like Symmetra is going to be very important to me. I think if we're going to continue running this for SrPeakCheck, the Symmetra is the fulcrum of like how this composition operates. Because if it's being focused down, and like we saw Oblivion kind of do this a little bit in their matchup, where it's like they did a great job of focusing down the turrets from like UB. If they can do that with Danad on the side of Team PEPS, they're going to have a much easier time of winning these fights, because once the Symmetra gets into like the enclosed area, a Symmetra beam charges very fast against Rein Shield and does a ton of damage. I know people have probably, you know, in their ranked games seen what like getting beamed down by fully charged Symmetra, one of the worst feelings. Like it feels awful.
Well, and even what we already saw when it comes to like the Orisa dynamic of it. I mean, again, now when we look at the Reinhardt, there is still that same type of implementation of where when you are that high of a charge, you will still just crush that health value and deny any sort of protection that can come through. So with us going to Midtown versus Numani or Eichenwald, we get to see a nice differentiation in potential compositional selections in a very minor way, of course, but I'm right there with you and wondering exactly what that full lineup is going to look like, and seeing who specifically is going to end up on the defense once again to try and negate that distance, and if they get them gridlocked in that position like you mentioned with the underpass.
And this is also where like high ground DPS can get a lot of value. Like I think Ashe is someone who like second point Midtown, very strong. I think even third you can make an argument that like she's very strong. Hanzo very good here as well. It could also just be, you know, return to I'll call it like aggro red compositions if there are Magic the Gathering players out there, where you just sit there and you smork and it's just like, okay, well, we're just going to use our Bastion. There's not really anything else that we have to really do here, and we're just going to put it like go directly face. Me go face.
See, I was one of those people. I was like,
played Hunter.
I was Goblin Rush for fire and like Fireball spellcaster. Like I was just trying to blow you up.
You're a dirty red player.
Yeah, well, I was a dirty red player, and then I went to like, what was it, a mill deck where it was the blue one.
I play what I play my like standard deck right now is Dimir, which is red, which is blue, black, and it's mill, and it's the funniest. It's the funniest thing. I love playing it.
Those are the best.
I mean, it's got to feel terrible to play against. I know, and like if there are Magic the Gathering players out there and like in chat, they know that like blue players are just like the worst, and I agree, being one of them myself.
Which is why we're such good friends.
I see a Lifeweaver, Rich.
Yeah, that's a Lifeweaver coming out here. FD God making everyone take a second look at what we have presented, and I'm actually really excited for this KOB to see Lifeweaver.
FD God, I mean, Lifeweaver has been buffed like significantly, right? Like since release, like continuously getting buffed, getting changes, and getting to a point where I think like one more buff makes like Lifeweaver very viable right here. But also the damage upgrades that I think FD God have gotten, or Lifeweaver have gotten, really help as well. And also what's good about this rush style composition against SrPeakCheck is that you can pull people out of the brawl.
Yep. And make sure that you save them, as there's a spear spin to knock them back. Molfig extremely low. Hybrid does go into tank form. funneling so many of SrPeakCheck into that doorway. Nice grenade as well for the initial entrance into the streets position. Canceled charge, the pedal unfortunately gets clipped by the inner wall and doesn't go up as high as I think they would have preferred to. Couple of turrets in the back now. Again, SrPeakCheck playing this very carefully since they are attempting to find the best avenue to get to the point.
They're waiting patiently, but a lot of healing being pumped out by Team PEPS' composition here. And they're also setting up this crossfire really well with Hybrid, who is pumping out so much damage almost towards this artillery strike. And in this like area, they're going to do a lot of damage.
What a read on the TP as well. Oh, there's the pickup onto Fi, and behind the fire truck, they are guaranteed not to leave this train cart. Nice coverage, though. I believe the swivel of the shield to make sure that it is completely denied from LH Cloudy. Heads up play, making sure that they withstand it. Molfig gonna hold the choke, though. There are just some decent javelins to toss in and just running the clock right now.
No, but I really love this Lifeweaver pick. I think it's so good right here. As the Ant Matrix comes out, oh, no kills just yet, but oh my god, Hybrid is gonna cause so much problems here.
The Ant Matrix makes a massive influx of damage where you have Team PEPS coming out with a miraculous decision of the Lifeweaver and everyone working in tandem with one another.
I'm really loving the Life, because what it does is it essentially says that like if you're gonna TP onto a singular member, I just pull them out, which has happened like a couple of times. You pull them out with the Lifeweaver, and then SrPeakCheck are just stuck. Because the mobility of the turret is what makes this composition so valuable, and when the TP, and if they don't have that, they're just going to get poked down by Torbjorn, by Bastion, and by the rest of the poke on this team. I think this is just really good understanding from Team PEPS, and a good adjustment from them in the mid set. This feels like going to Midtown was a very we want to do this against this particular SrPeakCheck.
Calculated.
Very calculated, yes, that's perfect. Cerebral, words like that I think is very important when you look at this map in terms of how it's been played so far. I think that they're working really well around it. The problem now will become, though, is that when SrPeakCheck get all their ultimates, right? When you have Blizzard, when you have Sound Barrier to kind of just blitz your way through a lot of what Team PEPS is going to try to do here, that makes it a little bit difficult. But the thing about it is if SrPeakCheck come into this fight, use all their ultimates, and lose, they're probably getting full health. I don't think that there's a way they get another ultimate rotation in time to win that.
And we'll see. We had a little bit of a comment in regards to at least the control map where we did say, the adjustment for Hybrid really not picking up value, the questioning of whether or not the decision was made well enough. But right here, it is for sure paying off with what FD God is doing. Photon Barrier instantly onto the point. Now going to see the Molten Core dropping it onto the control area. As you have the Blizzard now stacked up, FD God separated from the rest of the team, gets the pull, but right into the free firing range of Ghost. Hybrid barely alive. The Terra Surge now by Molfig in the doorway. There is a Cryo Freeze. A Lifeweaver Bastion 3,000 feet above ground. Almost about to take a first airliner flight. Now dropping in. Instantly going to get rid of that immortality field. Ghost is low. LH Cloudy is not bringing up that shield fast enough. And this is an unreal cleanup by Team PEPS.
This is so... I got to give credit to whoever... I think it's Levenigak, who's the coach of this team and Team PEPS. This is genius. I'm loving how they're operating with this. Pulling the Bastion onto the high ground. Look at SrPeakCheck composition. How are you going to get to the Bastion? You simply cannot. You have to use your TP to get there. If not, Bastion's just going to sit on that pedal and free farm you. And that was every single ultimate from SrPeakCheck, and they didn't win that fight.
Making me blush a little with that French talk, as we're going to now see the Bastion up front with the turret once again completely destroying Ghost, and now with 45 seconds and only gaining one tick thus far, 60%. SrPeakCheck is going to have one last shot.
And it goes down to, and you're right, one last shot. And how are you even going to walk into this fight? Fi needs to get Blizzard, that's one way. I think Dala also needs to find a way to get Sound Barrier in time. But Team PEPS, you're walking into Ant Matrix with a Bastion in it. You're also walking into the Artillery Barrage. This is so difficult from a macro perspective for SrPeakCheck to win.
Tension increasing heavily for SrPeakCheck. Nice stun, amplification matrix from both sides. Who is going to be able to funnel more, though? It's going to be Hybrid once again onto Ghost. They have no significant healing, but oh my gosh, there's the Fire Strike that comes in. There wasn't an ability for FD God to get them out of there safely, but you still have lost it. Now, Ghost opting to go onto the Kiriko to get back in fast enough, but I think the health values are going to be too low too quickly. The Sound Barrier is active. The Lifeweaver tree perspiring and allowing that life needed to survive onto this point to deny it. The Terra Surge brings in Ghost. FD God comes in with a couple of nice picks, seeing the Life Weaver portrait and the kill feed, feeling really good about it. And that's a round 1 full hold with a Life Weaver in the comp.
And we'll see. I mean, there were a couple of ticks taken by, I think it was like 60%, so about 1.5 taken for SrPeakCheck here. So there's a winnable condition for them. But, I mean, man, this was just, I think that they moved so well, Team PEPS, around what SrPeakCheck was doing. I was talking about how they need to make adjustments. This is beautiful. A beautiful adjustment in the mid set. Bring back in, you know, Bastion, which works so well for you on control. Bring in FD God to make sure that, like, hey, if Bastion's ever in a sticky situation, I can pull him out. He can be as aggressive as he wants, and it worked so well for them. And Team PEPS really schmooving and grooving after that control.
Pièce de la résistance is what we can say.
Pièce de la résistance.
See, you can still say it better than me, man. I can't get it.
I am French, so, like, you know.
I know. It's just like, yo, bro, that's cool, but, like, here's how it's actually said.
Pièce de la résistance. I mean,
my wife knows 3 languages, and I try to say any of them, and it's just like, I still can't say any of them right, so this is fair.
I did go to France, and then they were like, actually very surprised that I had such a
new French.
Accent. Well, that too.
Okay.
I haven't lost like a ton. Like I know some people, especially in Paris where I was like, yeah, you sound like a bit American, but also they're Parisian. So
that's true. That's true. Because you get like that American accent into like your alternative language.
I feel like I've kept like a good amount of my French accent in it.
Okay. Like, I mean, I would agree. You just talked in it saying their name, and I'm just like, oh, okay. As the doors open now for Team PEPS on the attack, they do not have much to worry about. It's only 60.8% that they have to accrue to be able to take this and put themselves on the board with a map score. Would feel really confident to go head-to-head. Bastion still being the significant play here, but FD God opting to go back to the Lucio. A better decision for them moving into this, having that utility. A lot being put into this. The Immortality field and the turret down. Molfig is getting blown to bits and unfortunately taken down.
Yeah, I mean, this was really good from SrPeakCheck on the defensive end, just playing around those turrets. Unfortunately, Team PEPS couldn't find a way to take them down, but actually, 2 members, I mean, are on the flank. They don't get the ticks, so I don't think this is a lot of value for them in terms of just the overall aspect of this defense. I mean, that's already a minute taken off the clock for them. Team PEPS, I mean, they are in danger, let's be real. Like, there is a win condition for SrPeakCheck. If SrPeakCheck hold without, like, any ticks given, they're going to be able to win this one. And Team PEPS, though, coming back into this one, Ant Matrix available to them. But on the other side, so many more ultimates available for SrPeakCheck in the upcoming fight.
Ant Matrix and Wall. Molfig is right in the line of fire, able to sidestep into the room. Buy some time, allow it to fall. Crossing the position, looking to give assistance to Naga and Hybrid, but they're down. The rotation wasn't fast enough to give assistance. Oh no.
Molfig's still alive. I mean, Fi is down. I don't think that there's a way back in for... There's no way. Okay, Team PEPS can't win this fight. And now it's like starting to become a bit of a problem right now because look at Hybrid and Naga. Not even close towards any of their key ultimates. And SrPeakCheck have 4 coming into this next fight. Team PEPS used their Ant Matrix too. And one thing that SrPeakCheck is doing so well is when Team PEPS are starting to try and take these crossfires like Naga going on these flanks, Elish Cloudy is just getting onto him and saying, like, you're not going to be able to move.
Yeah. Oh, Hybrid and FD God getting so low with this initial pick damage. And Hybrid actually commits the turret. So they now look to draw back. Naga gets damned. The photon barrier is there, though. That's going to buy some time, but there is still a distance to cover to get back as a full 5. Minute and 50 seconds. Molfig, along with Naga and FD God, will have their ultimates for this engagement, but there's an icicle onto Hybrid. Oh, that's disastrous. You don't want to see it in the shatter onto Naga, and the fire strike to follow. They have completely crippled Team PEPS with a minute 30 to go.
I mean, they won that fight off of just the virtue of Fi getting these picks, who's left uncontested on these high grounds. I mean, there's not really anyone that's been able to take down Fi, and Fi is clicking heads to an extent where Team PEPS, who had such a great defense, only have a minute left to work with, and they need to win this fight here, Rich, because they're not going to get another set of ultimates.
And Matrix again, Naga low, has to force the defensive, and Ghost is going to pick him up as he stepped back into the sideline, attempting to go up the stairways, Kenobi.
And I mean, only a minute left here. Immortality field is used, so Team PEPS have to wait, and I mean, it feels like Team PEPS are just waiting for all 5 ultimates to go forward, but they're walking into a blizzard and a sound barrier of their own. It's not too terrible of an ultimate deficit for SrPeakCheck here.
It's a necessary kill to get Fi before it's launched. There is the lava to open up space. The damage onto the supports is not landing. They're able to elude as Kronos gets the amplification matrix forward. There is a wall blocking him in. Dana gets hybrid. Now they're locked in place. Molfig, everything is being pumped into this, man. They can't get out. They're low. Their health is being reduced. A pin across the center from LH Cloudy with 20 seconds to go.
Oh, Naga did take down Ghost, and Naga's still alive. If Naga can find a way out, he doesn't manage to do so. But with Ghost not here, there is a potential for Team Peps to go very aggressive here because there is no healing left for SrPeakCheck. If Dana can find a way to get Photon Barrier, they can create time.
But look at how low Hybrid and FD Guard are. They need to make sure that they get movement speed so they can get onto the position. Big artillery fire coming in onto the point. They have to get there to touch. It's procced into the overtime, but Molfig now with the shatter gets denied. Blocked by LH Cloudy. Photon Barrier will not allow anyone to get damage inward as SrPeakCheck now puts themselves at a 2-0 and is really starting to put salt in the wound.
I mean, an amazing defense from Team Peps to start off with, but the defense from SrPeakCheck was just simply better. That offense from Team Peps, I mean, the word that I'm going to use is toothless. There was no way that they were getting past all the incoming damage. It took them so long to kill those turrets, and when they eventually got through, Fi is just standing on high ground, dinking. Like, this is just insane.
Yeah.
Like, he 3-taps Hybrid here. This is disgusting. If Hybrid doesn't die in this fight, I think that Team Peps are going to be able to move forward and win that one. But, I mean, just a great defense from Team Peps, an even better defense from SrPeakCheck here, who are now up 2-0. And Team Peps have to put on a masterclass in these next two maps to be able to try and reverse sweep this.
I was just going to say, you have to think of the mentality right now. I mean, you probably felt so strong and confident in oh my goodness.
No cheese, no win.
No cheese, no win. Oh,
that's very funny.
All right, you know, the question is what kind of cheese? Parmesan? We got
France,
cheddar.
so it'd be like
that's true,
right?
It would, yeah. That's true. That's true.
So, as like,
but again, the mental aspect of it, like they held so well defensively on cloud 9, you would say, with how high Hybrid was with that pedal, but it was instantly shut down in front of them. Beautifully done. And now we're going to see if this is going to be closed out in a 3-0 fashion, or if Team Peps after this break can be able to take a moment, get themselves revitalized, and come back for a reverse sweep.
Are you tired of your teammates holding you back from greatness? Ready to seize the initiative, hit shift, and super jump up the ranks? Or become the envy of support players on every map, game, and round? Well, get ready to take flight with the brand new Overwatch Contenders Mercy skin. Each Mercy skin comes with a brand new, hand-painted, handcrafted, free-range, organic, non-GMO, and side-effect-free Valkyrie battlesuit, so you can be in style as you beam up your team. And when your Caduceus stuff isn't enough, there's always the Caduceus Blaster! In order to earn your wings, connect your Battle.net account to Twitch and tune in during the Overwatch Contenders Finals on August 29th and 30th to claim your exclusive Contenders Mercy skin. So, what are you waiting for? Suit up and join the fight in your Overwatch Contenders Mercy skin.
friends, we're back. We're super excited, but I'm just excited. I don't know. So I know, right? Just, but yes, so it is a 2-0 scoreline right now. SrPeakCheck has been able to not only take the control map, which they struggled with previously the last time we saw them, but now on a Midtown where there was a defense that was so beautifully done with a Life Weaver, but apparently there was not enough cheese to work through it. There's not. And now they find themselves on a match point. And Team PEPS have and need everyone in the chat right now to like give their energy to like the Spirit Bomb, like, and just like allow that to just accumulate energy to come back into this.
Yeah, I mean, they need the entire country of France's power, I think, at this point, right? Like, it's going to be very difficult, especially with how well SrPeakCheck are playing, to come back and reverse sweep this one, and they're going to try and start that reverse sweep on the map of Dorado here, which I think is good against what SrPeakCheck is going to run, because I think that this is a great moment for Molfig to run D.Va. High ground control, very important in a map like this. You can get those, crossfires very effectively and take control of those high grounds and poke from on high. The worry, again, I have is with the Symmetra, always when against these compositions, because if you are, like, playing a little bit separated, and you're, like, maybe, like, a little bit too over-aggressive, it's very easy for SrPeakCheck in an instant to just snap their fingers and say, 5-man TP onto, like, Naga or something, or, like, one of the backline members, and instantly kill them. So that is something, and to be fair to Team PEPS, on the defense, they were very good at dealing with the Symmetra, right? They were very good at dealing with, like, the engages. A lot of it had to do with, like, Life Weaver and having that pull to get the Bastion onto that high ground. As much as LH Cloudy called it cheese, I thought it was pretty cute and interesting.
I agree.
But for SrPeakCheck, I wonder, I mean, it's LH Cloudy, so I doubt we'll see, like, too much in terms of swapping from the Reinhardt, but this is a decent map, I think, for Team PEPS to start and try to get that reverse sweep, because, again, it has to be perfect from here on out.
Yeah, they need some kind of momentum shift and confidence after that last one, because I myself would, in that moment, be like, yo, we've got such a solid defense, 0.6. That's not a lot when it comes to that initial tick that you gain, and then comes back and be like, nah. We gonna hold you a bit more. Like, don't worry about it. We got it. And it breaks you down.
It is. And the worst part about this for Team PEPS here is that, okay, let's say hypothetically they win Dorado, right? Push is next. I would be shocked if SrPeakCheck just doesn't say, okay, let's go Coliseo. We're Reinhardt map. We're gonna win here. Like, it's very difficult for Team PEPS to play behind the serve for the rest of this series. I think it'll be this is a great position for SrPeakCheck to be in. Even if they lose this one, right, they go to push, they pick something like Coliseo, and they have such a high advantage, especially because that's like where Reinhardt is. I mean, Reinhardt was good on Coliseo before he got all the buffs, so before he was being played. So that's something that I think I would be very worried about for Team PEPS. But I mean, you have to start here on Dorado, kind of figure out a way to bring this one back a little bit, because this is one where we were talking about, like, being very close, and I think they've been relatively close, but it's been SrPeakCheck with this just small, like, I think the macro from Team PEPS is suffering, like, a little bit. There is, like, some disjointedness, I think, from a lot of their playstyle, like leaving Fi on high ground, kind of just like brute force their way for 4 minutes with that Bastion composition when it simply wasn't working, right? I think it took Hybrid 3.5 minutes or something close to that to, like, get artillery barrage, which just means you're not getting value on the pick.
And it's those very small, like, foundational things. Like, it's just the little things that are just something, to kind of tighten up. And I agree with you, because when we saw them last time on Coliseo, SrPeakCheck was just in a very prime position and play it so well. Yep. So this is not only a challenge right now on this map, but the rest of the way only continues to become even more challenging, as we are going to be entering into this map of Dorado, where it could be potentially the final moments for Team PEP to be able to be competing in this lower bracket or be sent home. And just like we had in the interview, SrPeakCheck looking out for them. Like, they realistically are thinking very highly about this team. They know how challenging this team is.
I think the thing about it too is it's very reminiscent of, like, Chengdu in a certain way, where it's like Chengdu was like a team that, like, played very, like, early Chengdu, I'll say, with, like, Ray and, like, Jinmu, and, like, when they were playing, like, these things that, like, not a lot of other people were, like, playing, right? Ameng on ball, right? No one was playing that back when, like, Gotsu was meta, but Chengdu was, and it would, like, shock teams. Like, Vancouver Titans, for instance, like, got taken to 5 maps by that team. This feels reminiscent to that in the sense that when I look at SrPeakCheck, no one's running Reinhardt the way they are, right? I doubt that there are a lot of teams that are running Reinhardt at the level that this team has been playing with, and so it's very hard to kind of prep for a team that's such an anomaly, and how good they are at it too.
Team Peps want to bring back the
More
cheese.
Camembert. More Camembert.
They want more camembert.
Camembert.
If I'm gonna say that.
There's some
Camembert.
There's some other French cheeses.
Now I'm getting really, really
Comté.
hungry.
I think
Comté.
Comté.
I'm gonna try my best to impersonate you to the best of my ability.
There's like 5 French people in this chat that are like, you know, he maybe actually does have some good French accent.
Oh, that's nice of them. So we're gonna see now again.
No,
Hybrid utilizing the pedal to keep this high ground position. And it's a little bit of a slow movement here for SrPeakCheck, rounding the outside. Dola getting low, but easily able to get topped up by their partner in crime. As this is really, really patient play, and I'm loving it from SrPeakCheck. Yeah. They know exactly what they want to do. The TP now going to try and compete against it. The wall, though, is going to go down very quickly. They cannot quite get Hybrid, and Molfig takes down Danet.
Very good from Molfig. Molfig actually did a great job there, pushing people away from the teleporter so that the rest of them couldn't TP onto that high ground to take down Hybrid. And that meant it was kind of just LH Cloudy sitting there trying to, you know, hold his hammer towards a Bastion in turret mode, and that's just not going to end up working out for you. So good start from Team Peps on this defensive end with this, you know, cheese that LH Cloudy called it, and we'll see how SrPeakCheck is going to try and maneuver again, because Hybrid is in a great position right here, and with FD God being able to pull him out, it's very difficult for SrPeakCheck to try and get onto this Bastion.
I'm almost wondering if they might look for like a juke to where they go for the TP and then instantly jump onto Molfig, but they now reposition again with the pedal to the even further building where LH Cloudy has to drop down below and stick underneath this, and a great grenade comes in onto Danet again.
Yeah, without Danet, that means there's no TP as well, so there's no way for SrPeakCheck to get to this high ground, and really maneuvering around with this Lifeweaver and these pedals, just controlling this high ground so effectively. Now we're going to be seeing for SrPeakCheck, how are they going to try and break this defensive end here? Because, I mean, they do have a Blizzard coming up soon from Phi, but with how spread out Team Peps are, and you can't solo Blizzard and Orisa, you just lose.
Artillery shells now underneath. Immortality Field instantly has to be utilized with the wall to block the front-loaded damage from Molfig. And again, they are just running this clock, and Danet can't get close enough. And this is almost another pickup. Where, though, LH Cloudy's going to take advantage. There's the Tree of Life to come in up front to top up, giving that extra protection with the Reach and Patch Note, pulling them in even further. But FD God still goes down. 1-for-1 trade. They've lost 2. FD God should be able to have enough speed to get back into this as long as they don't lose anybody else, but Danet and Phi take down Naga and Hybrid.
And during all that, Molf, I think, actually speared Dala out of the sound barrier. Fantastic play coming in from Molfig. I think being able to survive and keep the team alive throughout all that. If that sound barrier goes through, I think there's way too much damage for SrPeakCheck to, or way too much shielding for Team Peps to deal with right there. SrPeakCheck, yes, are going to win the fight and kind of move forward, but that could have been a lot worse, and Team Peps are able to stay alive a little bit and now start poking through this low ground, and with the Molten Core, it's going to make it even harder.
Photon barrier through the center. LH Cloudy swinging away on the front, and you've got Molfig barely able to get out of there. Immortality Field beautifully timed by Cronus to guarantee that the 3 of them are topped up and recovered. But health value's low. Nice job by FD God. They are locked into this corner. Naga now going to try and just continue to pump damage in. The Earth Shatter comes out, stunning onto 1. Hybrid is still alive. Everyone is funneling in a 2-prong attack onto SrPeakCheck, but Naga goes down. Phi gets the pickup again. The pedal at least tries to help get them out of there onto the high ground, but this is numbers advantage for SrPeakCheck. The turrets are also doing damage into the back onto the supports, pulling Hybrid back to give them distance, but they might just have to give ground here as LH Cloudy's all alone in the back just cleaning up. Maybe they can turn this back, but no, they also lose Molfig. It's a numbers advantage here for SrPeakCheck pushing into this, and Danet is now looking to continue funneling onto Hybrid.
Cronus is alive, and I mean, with the Matrix giving a lot of healing to Hybrid here, who has this artillery form available to him to throw it onto the cart, but we're in overtime. Here comes the sound barrier to give them all that shielding.
Nice coverage in the corner. Pedal rising for FD God to get out of the sightlines for the moment. Nice job from Hybrid taking down Phi. The Blizzard might just be the nail in the coffin, though. They get the touch. Nobody could stick close enough, and that gives them another 2 minutes and 20 seconds as a lifeline.
I think Hybrid, at the very start of that fight, like back when they were making that defense, went for like a home run play, trying to kill Danet, and went to the low ground, and once the Bastion is on low ground, Team Peps has to commit every single resource to try and keep that Bastion alive. They managed to do so, but they lose members, they lose cooldowns, and SrPeakCheck take that inch, that very small inch that is given to them, and take the entirety of first point, and now the momentum is so in their favor. It'll be difficult for them to maneuver through a lot of this high ground poking phase, but they're getting a lot of value already.
Wolfig instantly drops down below. Javelin to get at least some positioning and pinning him into the wall. Oh, can they get the shutdown onto the supports? The pedal brings the most, so they also have verticality to this to counteract it and still put out quite a bit of damage. So SrPeakCheck have to draw back, the reposition, and a sweeping charge from LH Cloudy to go back and stick with the rest of the team before re-entering into this with the photon barrier blocking some of it, but Naga's at least gotten 2 in this, and Molfig follows with the 3rd.
Naga with the flanking Molten Core makes wonders happen there. Fi, will they be able to get out of here in time? I think with Dala escorting them, they should be fine, but this is a great position for Team PEPS to be in, right? They have control of this high ground. You also have FD God coming in soon with the Tree of Life, and again, that ability to just put the Bastion up vertically at any position is so important.
Oh no, FD God is down. They don't get the ultimate. They don't have that fluid healing. It's solely going to have to rely on Kronos right now down below. Artillery shells at least disorient SrPeakCheck for the moment, but oh, that's going to be unfortunate. You've got the Terror Surge attempting to pull them close together, but they've lost not only FD God early, but Molfig even later, so this is free card progression. Oh, unless Kronos can just keep getting damage like this onto the low ground.
I mean, with Danid not here, also, they can't get to the high ground anymore. This is just full control of the high ground for Team PEPS, and they're going to be able to, as much as they want to, poke from here. Hybrid is getting extremely low, but the healing is so good, and the pedal and the life grip keeps Hybrid alive in this fight, Rich. 20 seconds left for SrPeakCheck. Shatter and Sound Barrier available to them. Can they bum rush onto this high ground and take out a couple of key members?
FD God really showing how well Lifeweaver can be played. Tree of Life on the doorway, guaranteeing that they will have an overflowing amount of support, but the pin brings down Hybrid to the low position, so they're not within the range of healing. Overtime is active. Kronos gets Fi, deleting that slow and those icicles that have been coming in consistently from them to pick up the opposing side. Danid low, who has the photon barrier just in time. Somebody's got a touch. They drop down below, but the Shatter is there. Half of a meter to go. Overtime is dwindling. The Fire Strike mid-jump onto Kronos, but still getting healed up by FD God into the backside. Amplification Matrix and Molten Core are being brought up. The charge is denied. The shield could not come up in time, and you will have Team PEPS able to block them before that second checkpoint.
And now your win condition is set for Team PEPS to try and take us into that map for just basically get to the second point. I mean, to be fair, I think so incredibly heavily to this team of SrPeakCheck. Fi is not like playing the most sexy Mei ever, right? It's not showing up in the kill feed a lot. These walls from him are so unreal good. I mean, since the beginning of the series, when like we saw them on the Mei beforehand, Fi just negating a lot of key cooldowns, right? Negating Ant Matrix. He's splitting up the team and not letting Hybrid get the healing of the Baptiste and the Lifeweaver. I mean, the reason that SrPeakCheck have gotten as far as they have on this map is because Fi has been just kind of willing the team, it feels like, a lot of the time.
I mean, the other
like that wall right there, like this wall is incredible.
Yeah, there's so much that's being brought to it, but now the real question is, with Team PEPS going on the attack this time, I mean, I would feel that they're not going to bring the Lifeweaver again, but, you know, with SrPeakCheck calling them out, no, they can't. I was going to say, I don't think they would.
I mean, you're right. I think I'm a little bit worried about Team PEPS on this offense because we've seen them like have good defenses before, even back, you know, on Midtown, and then now we go to their attack, and it's like, okay, now we need to figure out a way, like, how do we beat the Symmetra? Like, how are we going to be able to maneuver around it? And I think this is the first time where I would like to see Team PEPS operate a Symmetra of their own, right? Especially against a Reinhardt, where you can get guaranteed, like, very high shielding. I think it's going to be great for them, and they are going to be using it to kind of maneuver the Bastion around onto this high ground and force SrPeakCheck off of it.
Right into Molfig, too. Nice wall again. There's a pedal, at least, from Team PEPS to take advantage. Daned is low. 1-for-1 trade. Kronos is down, so it's strictly going to be FD God on the attack. That has to keep them going. And Naga comes out onto the Junkrat. Able to get a concussion mine to reposition and save themselves. We've actually completely revamped what we're going to see in the gameplay today for Team PEPS.
I mean, screw it. If SrPeakCheck's going to play like this very enclosed style and then use these Symmetra teleporters, just throwing down a mine and booping everyone away from it is going to do so much, and it's going to get a lot of value. This is a great decision, I think, from Naga, and is going to be a little bit more effective at dealing with this brawl than something like the spammability of the Torbjorn.
Hybrid, oh my goodness. Lifeweaver again coming in clutch to save it. The fire strike makes it even more scary though. As they draw back, the pedal will not be useful for the time being. They have to get rid of that to make sure that nobody's going to rush onto them. Nice draw back around the corner for the moment as Naga continues to funnel these grenades. Concussion Mine comes in, attempting to also trap. Not going to yield any value here as it can only be placed close to the payload. Molfig regrouping underneath, and this is, a great wall to separate Molfig. Can they get enough exploited damage onto it? As the reposition up top with 2, FD God gets the pedal. And again, just holding strong now in the doorway.
But I mean, they're not really getting anything in terms of value, right? This is just time that's being taken off the clock. And if you're SrPeakCheck, you're totally fine with that. Naga's going to be coming up towards this Riptire, which is going to be a key ultimate in terms of just like maybe getting a kill into that backline. You're going to have to be looking out for Ghost with Immortality Field to try and match it, because if Naga gets like 1 or 2 kills, it could completely be a loss for SrPeakCheck.
Riptire now taking the long way, the scenic route amongst the rooftops, dropping down below 50%. Now going to be able to get 1 onto the support as the barrier has been placed. 1-for-1 trade though. You losing Molfig is going to be disastrous on the front line, but the artillery shells attempting to change it over. Nothing contributed into this can actually break the defensive line of Danet, who's bombing and weaving between the wall.
Oh man, Naga is going to end up going down. Danet gets traded for it, but the Blizzard is here right now, and that's going to be a Baptiste going down. Cronus not here. And this defense is looking so good for SrPeakCheck. They're somehow doing it again, where they are just working so well with this Symmetra, and Team PEPS has no avenue to go through right now. They just seem lost on how to deal with this composition.
SrPeakCheck want the title of Fuller holder with 1:20 now to go before this checkpoint. You can see this rotation from Team PEPS looking to maneuver over towards the pedal. They're attempting to delete it before they can take it. The ping comes in into the backside of Molfig into the wall, who forces the Fortify. A fire strike on the descent from Hybrid. Wall again to separate. The Immortality Field is contributed. It's now all on the shoulders of Team PEP in these last 60 seconds to make this work. Danet drops below, throws the turret, 30 HP, and getting away from this as they actually are shut down by FD God with a quick response to the turret, but Naga goes down as well. Tree of Life. That could be enough to get them to work through this 50 seconds into Courtyard. They have to just delete Fi and make sure they cannot regroup.
Yeah, Fi is going to get taken down here. They need to get these kills very quickly so that the car can start moving forward. A lot committed into that fight for Team PEPS. Is there going to be a chance at a recontest here for SrPeakCheck? I don't believe they're going to be able to do that, especially with Hybrid having control of this high ground. So Team PEPS can take a sigh of relief here. 3 minutes available to them to start moving forward. And like now it really becomes a high ground game, as I think that cannot happen if you're Hybrid. That is absolutely disastrous, because now you've lost that high ground, and it's like you can get back onto it relatively easy, but what you lose is time, and time is an insanely valuable commodity, especially with SrPeakCheck playing this close to the spawn doors.
You're going to have the artilleries active, hoping to displace, to buy some space. Nice wall to the right, though.
Good Immortality.
LH Cloudy going to be covered instantly. Kronos, a flanking angle. Can they get the value? The grab from FD God gets them out of there scot-free, thankfully. So there is time to regroup as a full 5. 2 minutes now still to go. Dissipating quickly, the pin onto Hybrid, up the stairway, works their way just past the wall, and I don't think that Hybrid was ready for that, as it's a 2-piece coming in for SrPeakCheck.
Not at all. I mean, LH Cloudy completely turns that fight around, taking down Hybrid, which is the main damage source for this Team PEPS team, and SrPeakCheck continue to hold in this area here. Sound barriers available to them as well, so they can play a little bit aggressive if they'd like to in a scenario like this, or just use it to deal with the incoming Molten Core and combination of that Terra Surge.
Grenade lobbed, doesn't quite get the elimination as we've seen previously. LH Cloudy shield not gonna last long. Terra Surge actually brings them up into the sight line. Is there enough follow-up? Naga attempting to collapse onto Ghost and gets it with the rivet to the headshot.
Huge
instant
pick.
cleanup, big value here for Team PEPS, and they still have a chance.
It's on a complete knife's edge right now, because if Naga doesn't get that kill, Ghost is in that fight, and they can heal the rest of the team. I mean, that is so close. But finally, Team PEPS break this defensive hold that SrPeakCheck have, but they took a lot of time, Rich. About 2 minutes off of their time bank, and the thing is though, Team PEPS have control of this high ground, but if you're SrPeakCheck, I mean, you can just use the stairs, go up there yourself, and try and just rush down either the member on the cart or the members on that high ground.
Oh, the TP, they know that FD God is alone down below. He's pinned in the back! He's got the pedal! The reposition into the Tree of Life, so they're still in it. But the health values are low for Naga, who gets picked up. Beautiful evasion by FD God because so many cooldowns were put into him, but they still take the numbers advantage. Bullfig now onto Cloudy, doesn't have the Earth Shatter, the reposition, the artillery shells being held onto for the last moment as there's 40 seconds now to go, but Kronos is down by Danon. They've lost the healer.
That's so bad. I mean, FD God is still here, being able to get some healing done. Hybrid is going to try and get in this closed area, do some damage. Blizzard comes out.
They pull him out, so he's still alive. It's been forced. So now it's only Molfig underneath who already utilized it. The Shatter! No! Molfig goes down. He can't escape. It was emphasized onto Hybrid to keep them going. The barrage lands onto one, but Fi is still alive. Ghost is pumping the healing out now with the amplification matrix. The drop down from Hybrid in the back onto Fi. Can't withstand the damage from both Ghost and themselves after the cryo freeze. The numbers are so dwindling. Molfig isn't even here. The pedal attempt for the overtime manages to proc it, but there's everything against Team PEPS right now. SrPeakCheck wants to make this a 3-0 and make this a moment for them to win. But there is a last chance. Javelin onto Ghost. The pull in. Can it be enough? As they get a shutdown. Danon going to completely, once again, shut down Kronos. FD God follows immediately after. And despite the worthy attempt, Team PEPS unfortunately unable to take a single map away from SrPeakCheck, and they move on to face off against Ex Oblivione.
SrPeakCheck not gonna be on the back end of a salty run back from Team PEPS. It's them who take a convincing 3-0 here, go into that lower bracket final that we'll see tomorrow, and a fantastic performance, I think, from everyone. I mean, they really maneuvered so well. The coordination was there. It felt like everything was ticking perfectly for them. And Team PEPS, unfortunately, just looked like they were completely lost on how to deal with it. They brought out the Lifeweaver. It looked like it worked a couple of times, but just so much time was taken from them. I think that's the biggest thing for me, Rich, is that it felt like they would not have fights that would happen for like minutes on end, right? They'd just be held here. Things like this were happening where Hybrid just kind of gets hit in the randomness, or hit randomly by a charge, and fights just completely end. Molfig here ending up dying like 30 seconds before, and I really think that there's someone who isn't like on the kill feed a lot, didn't really have like, in terms of like this, I said it before, the sexiness of like the play. Fi is an insane Mei. I can't remember a time where I've seen almost every single Mei wall hit pay dirt. Every single time, whether it was just sectioning off members, blocking bastions, blocking ant matrices, making it so that like the team was completely separated, just every single time, stopping chokeholds, like everything was absolutely on point from Fi, and still, I mean, managed to have some good fragging moments too, but I mean, I think that if I had to give like a sixth man or like most valuable player who necessarily wasn't always completely like in the kill feed, it would be Fi. I think he played an absolutely phenomenal game, and unfortunately for Team PEPS, they're going to be bowing out of this tournament in 4th place. Not the ending I think they wanted to have, especially with how close they played SrPeakCheck at the start, but it felt like SrPeakCheck just had the game by the scruff of the neck from the get, and they never let it go.
You know, I have to give innovation credit to Team PEPS. We got to see Lifeweaver, friends. We all got to see a lot of usage of that. But yes, SrPeakCheck now going to continue on in their travels. We will have a moment to be able to speak with one of their players in just a moment, so don't go anywhere because we're curious to see how they're feeling after that game.
Oh, hello, fancy meeting you here. It's so nice to see ya. Are you ready to survive the wastelands? Then you'll need to bring your shotgun, your axe, and of course, your knife. For your sharp wit, if you get my drift. Hey, whoa. Hold on there. Don't forget to pick up your Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Yeah, gearing up is as easy as connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. And after that, watching the Overwatch Contenders Summer Series will contribute to your drop progression, letting you claim your own wasteland-ready Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Oh, that's right. It's time to rampage. Now, get out there and slay with the Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Okay, take care now. See you in chat.
Welcome back, everybody. As we are here, you can all be extremely excited because we're gonna holla for our dollar. How you feeling, my friend, after that one?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was a bit of a harder game, but we pulled it out.
So kind of talk to me a little bit about the preparation, because you've had like a week to kind of know they're going to be playing Team PEPS here, and the first series a lot closer than this one ended up being. What was kind of going through the thought process for your team to prep for Team PEPS and kind of take this as much more convincingly than it was in that previous series?
The previous series, we knew what we wanted to do and we knew what they would do, but we were kind of panicking and we were losing a lot of fights that we shouldn't, basically just losing to ourselves. And the game went really close, but we managed to pull it out. But today, we just took it more methodical, played chill. Like we knew we just had to wait for them to make a mistake, and then we punished.
Yeah, there were several moments where Kenobi and I were just really seeing that patient play and that understanding of how to really read through it. And again, already being able to take the control map, as last time it was a little bit more challenging. So going into this, I and Kenobi were making a comment about the whole Lifeweaver aspect of it. So you mentioned it's something that you were able to work through, but catching you off guard, like what were your thoughts about it? What was the discussions like going into facing off against that?
I mean, the Lifeweaver is usually not regarded as a very good hero, but I felt like in the neutral fight we had a big advantage, but then when we were trying to punish certain someone, they would just get pulled away, and we were kind of baffled by that. We weren't really sure what to do after that, so that kind of caught us off guard.
So kind of talk me through a little bit about that, because it must have been very disorienting, on Midtown, where it's okay, you come out and you're playing this comp, and then Bastion's just on a pedal in the middle of nowhere and you can't really get to him. But you do manage to get a couple of ticks. What was it like kind of with the vibes and mental of the team to be yeah, we know we can still Fuller hold this? Because I think it was pretty convincing on your defense. Didn't feel like Team PEPS really had an avenue into that game. What was kind of the thought process, and was there someone keeping the spirits up, being yeah, we're don't worry about it, we should be good here?
Yeah, I mean, Cloudy kind of said that it's whatever, just go play as well as you can, but if you lose this, it's whatever, it's just a hard map for our comp anyway. But we did manage to pull hold. Maybe just played chill, didn't die for no reason, and even if we died, we just made sure to trade and made sure that we can get another fight on point.
And you did really well of it. So going into Dorado, again, Reinhardt being, I would say, a little bit more challenging of a selection to utilize. What was the thought process, just still wanting to stick onto something that, LH Cloudy just plays so well and not wanting to waver away from it? Or is it one of those kind of moments where you're saying, hey, we're just going to play to the best of our ability. If we lose this map, we still kind of have a go next because Coliseum you played so well last time? Or was that really not the mentality going into it?
Yeah, I mean, Dorado was it's obviously a really hard map for us, because we are just gonna play rush most of the time anyway. So we just wanna make it work. I mean, it's payload still, so it's payload is really never that bad for Ryan, because you can just play for point and enemies have to touch at some point. If you're a good team, then you can punish enemies a lot of times, and they also make a lot of mistakes on that. But yeah, it was hard, but we managed to pull it off.
So talk me through a little bit about Dorado, I think, as well, because I think that someone who deserves a lot of credit was Fi. I think Fi's May walls were very good. Is that something that you kind of as a team are very consistently relying on? Is we know that Fi is gonna get value with wall a lot of the time, split the defense, and then it's kind of just is that communicated at all? Or is that Fi kind of just being this is where I'm gonna wall, and then the rest of the team follows up on it?
I mean, we sometimes have set plays with the wall, but it's usually just we just trust Fi to have a good wall, and we usually try to capitalize on it. But yeah, Fi was hitting really good walls today.
Well, I mean, it was definitely something I think that we've all can recognize. So now with this victory and moving on, and because of the previous game, you know who you're facing off against. Ex Oblivione is your next opponent working through this to where you can eventually and hopefully look to see Twisted Minds, who's waiting in the wings for you. What's your thoughts kind of going into that, and what are you thinking for the bigger picture to reach that grand final spot in Redemption?
I mean, Ex Oblivion, our next game, they're obviously a really good team, but I still think it's very doable for us, especially if we play like today. I think we can very well just meet Twisted Minds in finals, and even against Twisted Minds, if we just play like we usually do with scrims, I'm confident that we can win, but it's gonna be really good games no matter what.
Yeah, you should feel pretty proud, because in our interview, there's recognition by Twisted Minds knowing that you're the team that they'd look to go against and one that could really take it away from them. So keep that in the back of the mind, my friend, because they know it as well as you do.
I'm honored.
Thank you so very much for your time. We appreciate it, my friend. Cannot wait to see how tomorrow unfolds. Get some rest, do your preparation, and we're looking for a good game tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so good. I can't wait. To just, I'm gonna be at my computer tomorrow with my bowl of cereal, just like, all right, let's go. Just
yeah, I mean, dude, those two games are like insane that we're gonna have. I think we talked about it with like just now and with all in the interview, and then we had like KSA earlier say that like anyone could win. We finally do have our top 3, but I mean, I would be shocked if we don't get 2 absolute giga banger series between both of these teams. I mean, SrPeakCheck has already played Twisted Minds, and like you heard from KSA earlier, where it's like, you know, that could have been a 3-0. We could have gotten 3-0'd, and when would you ever think that you would hear Twisted Minds say something like that, right? Like that's
openly on broadcast.
Openly on broadcast, where it's like, yeah, we could have gotten 3-0'd. This is a team that like hasn't lost in like I don't know, since the womb, I guess. I'm going to steal that one from Lemon Tree, but like, this team has been absolutely incredible, and I think the SrPeakCheck with their Reinhardt style, no one's playing it like they are. They are just kind of the pinnacle of what that style of play, and it's going to be a great clash of team compositions, clash of styles, even, you know, when they play Exoblivione, and then if they get to the grand finals, play Twisted Minds. But Exoblivione, I mean, they still had some really good potential against that Twisted Minds series that we saw earlier. And you can actually take a look at the schedule of what we have tomorrow on the 29th to finally crown our champion for that summer series. It is going to be Exoblivione versus SrPeakCheck starting things off, and then the winner of that will face Twisted Minds. But Rich, today is not done with playoff Overwatch and Contenders.
No, it is not. And for those that are here within the NA region, you are looking forward to also 2 amazing series. You've got Pirates in Pajamas versus Wisp starting out, and then you have Saints and O3 Splash as the second game. There's still a few hours to go before that begins, so you have some break time as we can take a look at the bracket and how everything has really led to these Final 4.
And this is it's such an interesting Final 4 too, right? Or it's like you have like Saints and O3 Splash, who were 2 of the best teams that were in the round robin. Now in the lower bracket, you have Pirates in Pajamas, who I think that a lot of people are shocked about how well they've been doing. Like they've been playing incredibly well just as a unit. Feels like they know this meta extremely strongly. Wisp with kind of this 3-headed dragon of DPS where they can throw Sunjun onto the Illari and really kind of throw curveballs at teams like this. NA region, kind of like EMEA, it feels like there's a lot of teams that could win the tournament, and you wouldn't really be shocked, right? All 4 of these teams, the parity is there. I wouldn't be shocked if any of them take it to that grand finals.
Yeah, no major significant upsets, I would say, but someone who is going to be able to bask in the glory. And that is all for later today. We get to see the reduction down to the final 3, whereas we do know at least for EMEA tomorrow who those are remaining. So from us here, at least, that's the conclusion for now. But again, make sure you stick around. NA to come. Tomorrow, even more. Kenobi, it's been a pleasure. Thank you to the broadcast. For all of you out there, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.
You like solving problems. Problems like how to stop that tracer from deleting your backline. I know just what you're thinking. Go bring a turret. But y'all can't solve all your problems by simply bringing an extra friend to the battlefield. For that, you need the Contenders Torbjorn skin. Solve your problems by connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. After that, watching Overwatch Contenders Summer Series will contribute to your drops progress, letting you claim your Overwatch Contenders Torbjorn skin. Even your turret gets an upgrade. Warning, the Overwatch Contenders Torbjorn skin does not come with extra or upgraded turrets. Build instructions will not be provided. By picking Torbjorn, you waive a claim towards any destroyed turrets. No refunds, no exchanges, and no take-backsies.